So we continue today with our class Shabbos Home. In this session that we're going to learn, and all the rest of them should be also dedicated to Leilu Neshama, LevLeib ben Binzion, also L'chavdol Rifah Shlema to our dear Rabbi Yaron Ruvenschlitter. He's not good, unfortunately. Right? May HaShem has mercy on him and all of us, BeEzrat HaShem, right? In our merit, so he should recover soon, BeEzrat HaShem, right? Merit our learning, meaning. And also, Mimerasi Rachel Bas Brandel, Ariela Ora Bas Anna, David Shlomo Ben Sandra, and Atzlacha Rabba to Giveres Chana Bas Avraham Avinu and the whole family. So we continue today with our class Shabbos Home. And we're on chapter number 31, and our topic is temporary oil. So that's, as we said, it's talada of building. And it says, temporary methods of making temporary roof on Shabbos. Apologies. Permissible methods of making a temporary roof on Shabbos. A. Erecting the roof before the supports. If one erects a temporary oil by first setting up a roof and then erecting the walls or supports below it, he has not violated the prohibition of oil. This leniency applies both in a case of a roof that is required walls to be prohibited. There is a roof that is not used for people and animals. And in a case of a roof that is prohibited, even without walls, there is a roof made for use or people or animals. Okay. Thus, if one person holds the roof in the air, and a second person places walls or poles beneath it, they have not violated the prohibition of oil, since they have assembled the roof in reverse order. Although it is generally forbidden to spread a mosquito net over the baby carriage on Shabbos, since doing so creates protective roof. Right? This may be done if one person holds the net in the air, while the other person pushes the carriage under the net. In this case, the roof is created before the supports, which is permitted. Okay, so let's do case by case. So again, from the beginning. So we're in subsection 4. What's the name of the section? 1 second. Right, it's section 4, section 2. Rabbinic prohibition against erecting temporary oil on Shabbos. So temporary is, as we said, is prohibited only on rabbinic law. Permanent is forbidden on biblical law. So again, from the beginning. So permissible methods of making temporary roof on Shabbos. So meaning what we're going to learn now, if we change, if we switch orders. So normally, as I said, I think last time when we build something, so first you erect the wall or supports and then you put roof. So, but if nobody starts building from the roof, so I mean in the case of great need for the need of Shabbos, and if you do it with the shinui, right? And the shinui is like a deviation from the normal way of doing things. Right, so meaning we do opposite. We do first with the roof and then the walls. So it would be forbidden. It would be allowed. Again, two conditions for the needs of Shabbos and in opposite order. And it says, if one erects temporary oil by first setting up the roof and then erecting supporting walls below, he has not violated the prohibition of oil. So meaning, as we just explained, just reversing the order, did not violate the prohibition. This leniency apply both in a case of a roof that requires walls to be prohibited, right? The roof that is not used for people or animals, right? So meaning that roof requires walls that parallel to each other, right? As we said last time, this example with a box, right? Box or a crate or something, and person moves from one place to another and creates puts on top of like a piece of plywood or something and climbs on top of it, create like a makeshift step stool. So it will be walls, right? This crate, let's say milk crate, all of these 4 walls, and then they put roof on top of it. So it would be forbidden. This leniency apply both in the case of a roof that is required the walls, right? To be prohibited. There is a roof that is not used for people or animals. So like we just said, this milk crate or a box. And in the case of roof, that is prohibited even without the walls, right? Even without without the walls. There is a roof made for the use of people or animals. So we're going to see the example. So if you have this deck umbrella, so it's not going to be a problem. Or you have these awnings like these retractable awnings. Again, there is no problem. Okay, because again there are no walls. Thus, if one person holds the roof in the air and second person places walls or poles beneath it, right? They have not violated the prohibition of oil. Oil is mean tent, right? Since they have assembled the roof in reverse order. So that's what people do. I mean, today it's probably some baby carriages they come with some different attachments, right? And one of the attachments is mosquito net. So I have to be careful with that, to prepare before Shabbos, right? And plus you have to open up this hood, right? A little, at least a little was a little tefach, right? So you cannot. Otherwise, in a sense, a person if you want to open the hood later on, it's like you build in the roof. But if it was extended already, it was opened up a little, and you just continue opening, there is no problem. Okay. So I can continue. Accordingly, although in general it is generally forbidden to spread mosquito net over the baby carriage, since doing so creates a protective roof, right? And protective roof. This may be done if one person holds the net in the air, but the other person pushes the carriage under the net. So that's the only way possible. In this case, a roof is created before the supports which is permitted. So once again, next case B, adding to the extent existing roof. So that's we always have to keep in mind this approach, right? This approach meaning extending, meaning make sure that the hood on a baby carriage is always a little open. Open is tefach, and same with other things, right? Same with other things. What is other things like covering of the sukkah for sure, right? It must be a little open. So when you want to cover your sukkah with plastic, that's how it right. It's would be very practical on Shabbos, of course. So continue. The rabbinical prohibition of making temporary roof is limited to the creation of new roof. Creation of new roof. Adding to already existing roof, however, is permitted. So that's a keywords, right? So let's continue and then we explain. This permit applies only if the existing roof measure at least one tefach. So in many cases, we use this this measurement tefach. So tefach is like a feast, is 3.5 to 4 inches, according to today's measurement, plus minus. Maybe somebody would say even 3 inches, but we go by 3.5 for 3.5 to 4. Okay. If, however, the measure is less than a tefach, it is not considered a roof. So meaning a tefach that like a minimal amount of the roof, meaning that roof existed before and you just make it longer or wider or something. So it's bigger. So that's what be allowed. So again, we're not making a new roof, but just extended the existing. If, however, the measure is less than a tefach, it is not considered to consider a roof. Therefore, its existence does not permit adding another adding of another section. Thus, if one wishes to cover the sukkah on Shabbos, here we go, by unrolling the tarpaulin, right? This what is it? Blue stuff, right? This blue like a plastic. He must make sure. He must make certain that that at least one tefach of the tarpaulin was unrolled before Shabbos. If this is done, he may unroll it completely on Shabbos. Okay, so I mean, always keep in mind if you're planning to cover your sukkah, like for example, you ate during the day, right, and then or you ate at night, right? Let's say you ate your Friday night meal, and then you check the weather forecast is going to be rain the whole night, for example, until 7 a.m. So what is the point to make your sukkah get wet? So you just cover with a plastic, and then like when the time comes, you remove the plastic, and right, and you can sit in a comfortable sukkah in the morning, right? Or for example, or in the morning, right? Start raining, so you cover, right, and until you need until the time you're going to make a kiddush, or like even after the kiddush for a Seudah Shlishis, so you can cover, right? And technically you can see that in the sukkah that is covered, it's not going to be considered sukkah, in the meaning that you cannot make blessing, but still you can sit in there, you can learn and do other things if it's covered. Okay. Right, so continue. The new section added to the existing roof must be put in place as an extension of the original roof. For example, one who unrolls a tefach of tarpaulin, right, over his sukkah may begin expanding the roof from the point at which the tefach ends, right. That is, he may continue unrolling tarpaulin that was opened before Shabbos, or just continue pulling, right? Continue pull. It's not like it is a roll on one side of the sukkah and then you unroll. I mean, it could be like that, but it has to stay there somehow. Okay. I mean, all of this like. It depends on a sukkah where exactly it stands. For example, our stands next to the wall of the house. So next to the wall of the house, that's great. So we can put this plastic tarpaulin between the wall and the sukkah, and put something. We usually don't count on one tefach. We do a little more just in case. Maybe it's going to wind like a blow off, or like it would slide back or something. So we don't play this game. We just do much more than not much more, only two tefachim. Why? Because it cannot be also too much. So if it's too much, a person who sits under this this covering would not be considered sitting in sukkah. So right, so we just do as much as possible in order that everybody is considered sitting in sukkah, or we just direct everybody don't sit under this side, we sit on on another side. That's it. But table can be like under the covering. So what the main point is the person. Okay. Just 1 second. Continue. However, he may not begin spreading out tarpaulin from the other side of the sukkah, which was not covered at all before Shabbos. Okay. The person, the person has to take it seriously. So not to say that it's like it's a joke or something. This plastic was on the left side, so I can do it on the right side. Or if I'm allowed to cover sukkah completely with this plastic, or what's the difference? I start from the left, from the right, but it's a huge difference. One is allowed, one is absolutely not allowed, even though it's going to produce exactly the same result. The permit of adding to existing roof does not apply where the covering is wound onto a roll, and the roll itself is a tefach wide. Very interesting. Since the covering was not spread out, there is no pre-existing roof, right? For the roll itself is not regarded as a roof. Rather, the permit applies on it, but the tefach of covering was spread out before Shabbos. The spread out covering forms a roof. One is permitted to add to existing roof on Shabbos. Okay, it sounds a little confusing, but we're going to go over and try to understand BeEzrat HaShem. So if people who had sukkah and had to deal with the covering the sukkah, they know exactly what we're talking about. So let's start from the beginning, and even if you did not have sukkah or you're sitting in another person's sukkah, that's no problem. But we're going to learn and see, like you can be a guest in somebody else's house and they want to cover. So it happened to us several times. It was raining, so it started drizzling, right? And it looks like it's going to start raining harder very soon. So we quickly did kiddush and then cover it. So meaning that you can still sit inside. So since we already said the blessing on the sitting of the sukkah, there is no problem. We can continue sitting, but it's not going to be considered that we sit in a sukkah. But if you ate kizais or bread in without covering, there is no problem, right? But we just wanted to continue sitting in a sukkah. That's it. So you can sit there even it's covered, but not consider sitting. But if you ate kizais, you did the mitzvah. Okay. So let's do from the beginning, and BeEzrat Hashem should help us, and we understand. So from the beginning, adding to existing roof, the rabbinic prohibition of making temporary roof limited to the creation of new roof. So new roof not allowed. Extending roof that it was created there before Shabbos is allowed, right? So meaning if it's what is existing roof, minimum tefach. So it's was tefach, you can unroll this trampoline as much as you want. This permit applies only if the existing roof measure at least 1 tefach. So should be unrolled, let's say on a sukkah at least one tefach. Okay, so far so good. Just 1 second. If, however, the measure less than a tefach, so less than a tefach, it's considered insignificant, right? And it's like it's not considered to be a roof at all. Therefore, its existence does not permit the adding to another section. So again, there is minimum roof that must exist before Shabbos, 1 tefach. Continue. And you can extend. So you cannot build new, but you can extend the existing one. Thus, if one wishes to cover the sukkah on Shabbos by unrolling tarpaulin, he must make certain that at least 1 tefach of tarpaulin was unrolled before Shabbos, right? If this was done, he may unroll completely on Shabbos. So meaning it's always if some people do not cover the sukkah, period. Okay, that's what they do. No, there is no problem. There is no such a obligation. So if it's raining hard, for example, during the day, you just sit inside. Just sit inside, and that's it. And even it's not hard. So even they say when you have to go inside, and you're not obligated to sit in sukkah. So you're eating and it's dripping in your plate. It's ruining your dish. So it's not it's not pleasant, right? And it drips from what is it? From the skach, and it could be dusty or something. So now it's dust and plus the rain, and you have it in your plate. So it's not the most pleasant experience. Okay, so that's the sign that we have to go in. Okay, or or other days, as we said. We're referring to toy care in which a tarpaulin does not rest directly on the skach of the sukkah. If, however, it rests directly on the skach, the prohibition of making temporary roof does not apply, since there is no tefach between space beneath the roof as above. Okay, so he's saying, I mean, we still go stringently, but let's see. So roof, we said, something. So roof, as we know, roof. There are some supports. Something has to hold it up, and plus there is a minimum of tefach from the roof to the surface. So they say when this trampoline rests on a skach already, and that's what we have, right? So we prepared, right? Rest on a skach, open one tefach. There is it's not a problem at all. So the problem, as he says, this trampoline somehow it's hanging in the air, right? So meaning that there is a hanging in the air, there is a tefach between the skach, the roof of the sukkah, and the trampoline. But otherwise, if it's on a skach itself, it's as he said, it's not a problem because there is no tefach, there is no prohibition of the roof. So as we explained by example of a tablecloth, right? So when you do the tablecloth, so for example, you want to shake your we give this example, shake of your breadcrumbs. So you can, but not outside because you're not allowed to feed the wild animal. But let's say you shook it in your bathtub or something, so you can put it back there. There is no problem. So even though it is a roof in a sense, so it's not considered a roof because there is no one tefach gap between the table and the tablecloth. So that's not a problem. So that's exactly what he's saying. So let me just quickly to reread it. We are referring to a case in which trampoline does not rest directly on a skach or sukkah. Maybe it's in a roll. I mean, people do all these different configurations. So maybe this trampoline is not going to even touch sukkah. So meaning, I don't know, some kind of mechanism. Okay. If, however, it rests directly on a skach, the prohibition of making temporary roof does not apply, since there is no tefach of open space between the roof, between the roof and the skach. Okay, so we got it correctly. Continue. The new section added to the existing roof must be put in place as an extension of the original roof, and that's the punchline, right? If you may. So as extension to whatever was before, and we're going to use this rule many times. For example, one who has unrolled the tefach or the tarpaulin of the sukkah may begin expanding the roof from that point at which the tefach ends. So meaning you just can continue even pulling, I guess. So even pulling, so in a sense, the roof is going to increase, expand from what it was before. So it was here. So I'm continue pushing, continue pulling, right? push is not good, right? Pulling and it's going to cover the whole roof of sukkah. Okay, no problem. So again, like extending. Just once trampoline sukkah, maybe expanding, right? There is he may continue unrolling the tarpaulin that was opened before Shabbos, or he may lay new tarpaulin alongside the open skach. So it's very interesting. So he said, well, whatever you do. So I mean, in our case, it's like it's a long it's huge. It is huge. It covered the whole sukkah. So usually that's what I need. But for some reason, he says, if it's only like smaller piece and it's covers one tefach, and you want to put another piece on top, there is no problem. So I mean, it is going to be extension of the previous one. I'm not sure why I don't know, maybe huge sukkah and one tarpaulin is not enough. Maybe it should be from two pieces, possible. Okay. However, he may not begin spreading out tarpaulin from the other side of the sukkah. So meaning again, you extending, you building from existing, right? So from this direction is and out, which is not covered before Shabbos. Okay, the permit of adding to existing roof does not apply to where the covering would not is wound into a roll. Right, and the roll itself is a tefach wide. So I'm not sure why somebody do that, but the idea is so if it's in a roll, is not considered covering. So if it's you open from a roll, you open like 3 inches, 4 inches. That's exactly the covering, and that piece you can unroll. But the roll itself, it's closed, like rolled up, and it's even though it's like tefach or more, it's not considered to be roof. Okay, so we have to remember this. Just one second. Since the covering was not spread out, there is no pre-existing roof, right, in this case, and the roll itself is not regarded as a roof. Rather, the permit applies only where the tefach of covering was spread out before Shabbos. That's our main idea. This spread out covering forms a roof, right? One is permitted to add to existing roof on Shabbos. So again, existing roof, no problem. Okay, so let's do one more. And our topic is going to be opening folding canopy. So that's a famous one. The prohibition of temporary oil does not apply to folding canopy that is assembled before Shabbos, and now need nothing more than unfolded. So it could be manual or it could be with like mechanism. That doesn't matter. The Rabbi's prohibition was to create or assemble an oil. Right? This canopy, however, is already assembled. Therefore, it is not included in the prohibition. According to many poskim, this permit applies even when the folding canopy is being used to protect a person, for example, from sun or rain. Thus, one is permitted to unfold the hood of the carriage on Shabbos, provided it was attached to the carriage before Shabbos to protect babies from sun. Okay, so we stop here. Okay, so let's try to understand. So from the beginning, so you have this folding canopy. So folding canopy, like right, you have different kinds. Like one is like in the middle of the table, right, and one is to the side, like this. So you can open them on Shabbos. There is no problem whatsoever. Again, because the prohibition was to build the oil, to build the temporary rule, and here there's nothing to build. You're not even going to move it to a different place, right? It's going to stay exactly the same place. So again, the prohibition temporary oil does not apply to folding canopy that was assembled before Shabbos, and now needs nothing more than to be unfolded. And same idea actually applied to everything, right? To everything, meaning like folding chairs. So if you think about it, right, maybe it's also building a roof, right, or a folding table, right? It's like yes, it has supports, right? It has supports and it has a roof. So it's not. So if things were built this way, so it's normal way of using. It's not considered building or like a diminution. Okay, demolition. Okay. The rabbinic prohibition was to create or assembly an oil. So now, but with this canopy, we don't do this. This canopy, however, is already assembled. Therefore, it is not included in the prohibition. So very, very simple. The canopy is assembled, cannot be used as prohibition. Okay. It is not included. I apologize, I missed word. It's not included in prohibition. According to many poskim, this permit applies even when the folding canopy is being used to protect a person. Commentary. There are some poskim who rule that the canopy protects a person. It may not be unfolded on Shabbos. Okay, so some poskim, right. I think we can rely on that opinion. Many people rely on the first opinion. That since it was built this way, already assembled before Shabbat, there is no problem. So even it's protected from sun and rain. I mean, otherwise, why else you would open up a canopy, right? Continue. Thus, one is permitted to unfold the hood of the carriage on Shabbos, provided it was attached to the carriage before Shabbos to protect baby from sun. So we're also going to say it's preferable that it would be open one tefach before Shabbos. So next, subsection D. Where the roof is supported by a person, the prohibition temporary oil applies only a roof that has independent support. There is poles or a wall, right? If, however, the roof is being supported by a person himself, right, the prohibition does not apply. For example, one is permitted to protect himself from rain by holding coat a tefach above his head. So let's do from the beginning. So where the roof where the roof is supported by a person. So meaning the roof is supported by the person, there is no problem. When else, like it's a famous example is on Simchas Torah. So on Simchas Torah, like when we finish reading and we start from Bereshit, usually in all shuls that I went on, maybe there is different mishagim. So they call all of the kids before the bar mitzvah, right? Come there, right? Come stay under the talus. So in my shul, I'm not sure if like it's a real talus or somebody bought it. I have never seen the talus like that. Huge. I don't know. So, but real talus, like right. So they have poles like tall poles, metal poles with the hooks, and they put it like they hold it by tzitzis, like right when tzitzis is connected to the talus, and they stretch it, and all of the kids can come under the roof. Now, not only kids, Balkora is there, like Hassan Bereshis is there. There's this what is it? Other people, other like shul officials are there. So yeah, so there are several people. So meaning this is the roof, like temporary roof, temporary oil. But as we understand, since it is supported by people, there is no problem. Right? It says he's very careful with language. So one more time. The prohibition of temporary oil applies only to a roof that has independent support. There is a pole or wall. So meaning even if you walk out or walk away, it's still going to stand. However, if roof is being supported by a person himself, the prohibition does not apply. Right, so if a person, it does not apply. So for sure, it's temporary, right? Right, it's not what we would call a roof, like right. So the roof is something that is going to stand without human intervention. For example, a person can protect himself from rain by holding coat at tefach above his head. So meaning, he would take off the coat and hold like this in order for his head not to get wet. Okay. So commentary. Of course, if he is carrying the coat, it must be an area which carrying is permitted on Shabbos. So that's priceless commentary. So meaning what when we wearing clothes in the normal manner, it's not considered to be carrying, right? It's wearing. Wearing, there is no problem. Wearing, but also only article of clothing. But if you hold article of clothing, it's 100% carrying. That's why we said it would be an issue if somebody, usually kids do that. So they take the jacket from the sleeve and put it just on their shoulders. And right, since it's not normal way of wearing it, right? Usually kids, young teenagers, they do that, right? Because they're hot, right? So when people are wearing like that, it's not normal way of wearing. So it would be forbidden to do it in an area without eruv. If there is eruv, there is no problem. And same thing. Like you cannot just take out your coat and just right. For example, you have a raincoat and you're walking back from shul, and now you're hot. You cannot take it out. Right, and carrying in your hands, right? So if there is no eruv, if there is eruv, there is no problem. But no eruv, not allowed to carry. Okay, I think we can stop here. Okay, that's.